We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the POMcast on this Thursday. I believe it's Thursday, April 1st. Welcome to April. It's our last month of our trial before we get down to business. So, as you can see, we're doing a lot of tweaks with the graphics and learning how to set them up in different ways and how it looks and all that stuff. So just please be patient with us for a little while longer. We should be done by the end of the month, but this morning was a very, very busy graphics day. As you can see over to the side of the screen, the chat is open. We have a Discord channel as well. By the way, Positively Ole Miss is the Discord channel. Basically, in the chat, the way it goes, if you're in any stream, that's YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, the actual stream, not actually on Twitter, or Discord, and you leave a chat, it'll show up in the stream above. Now, we can see it all, so it's not really any danger of us missing it, but it's a way for you to get a question answered. If something pops in your head, we might be able to get that handled during the POMcast. I mean, we're on every day, 11 o'clock Eastern to about 11:30 Eastern. That's 10 to 10:30 Central. But that's just another way for us to be helping you out with what's a pretty cool thing. We're going to talk today. Florida has changed their rotation for this weekend. I think Franco Alamon will go tonight. First pitch is, I think, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on the SEC network. Clay Matvick and Ben McDonald will be on the call. We'll be on SEC Network Plus Friday and Saturday. But that's a pretty big deal. We have some sound coming up in this show from Mike Bianco, Tim Elko, and Gunnar Hoagland before they left to go to Gainesville for the game today. It's about to start raining here, by the way. I am in the palatial Central Florida studios about 2 hours from Gainesville, and it's about to rain in about 2 hours or so, and then the temperature is going to drop precipitously. And you know, we've been in the 90s the past few days. We're going to be down in the 70s after that. So it could be a kind of a chilly game. So if you're going to Gainesville, I hope you brought a jacket because it could get very chilly. But we'll talk a little baseball when we come back from the break. After it, we'll get into spring football and talk some more about Jaden Jackson. I don't know if he meant to do it or not, but over on Talk of Champions, Bradley Sowell let out a little nugget of information that has me quite intrigued. I'm a big Jaden Jackson person, and let's just say the outside wide receiver room just got thrown into a little bit of like competition, just massive for a little bit of reps. Now, they don't substitute very much, so if you win, you really win in this offense. So that will be interesting to see. But first, we will talk about Ole Miss and Florida. Ole Miss going down to Gainesville tonight. First pitch, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central in the new stadium. That's Florida Ballpark at Alfred McKeithen Field. That's a 7,000-seater. Franco Alemán will be on the hill tonight for the Gators. He's 0-1, 4.58 ERA, 28 Ks, and 8 walks. Basically, they brought in new people for their Friday and their Sunday starters, and they put their best pitcher on Friday going against Doug. Christian Scott actually looked fairly decent last week. He's even though he's 0-1, he's got a 1.35 ERA, 18 Ks and 3 walks this season. But he'll be going against Doug Casey tomorrow. Dimensions of the field is 400 dead center, 330s down the line. I mean, it should be neat. I'm looking forward to seeing the new ballpark on television. Florida's needed one for quite some time. They needed a place to play that matched the level that they play at. Now they're at 16-8, and they just got swept after sweeping Texas A&M the week before. So they're 3-3 in the SEC, and they're going to come with a little chip on their shoulders. But the goal for this series for Ole Miss should be to get 2 out of 3. No worse than 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3. That should be the goal. But Mike Bianco and the boys had a media availability yesterday, and this is what he had to say.
You know, I usually don't take that opportunity, except for maybe pitchers, and Doug and Gunnar both pitched against Florida as freshmen. Now, again, to your point, this first time, they've pitched in Florida at Gainesville, but they pitched against them here as freshmen. And, I worry more about the pitchers, I think, just because, sometimes, the adrenaline can help you and sometimes the adrenaline can hurt you. As far as the position players, I think you take it, guy by guy. Tim's played against them for quite some time. Bench was on that team. I don't think he played. I think he was still hurt at the time in 19 when we played him. So, but again, I guess it's not a secret, to just be who you are and continue to play the game the way you play. I don't know if there's just a right answer. It's really broad, and I think I would lean more to depending on where you think your team is, mentally and so on. I mean, I know we don't look at them any differently. That if they would have won 3 or lost 3, we know who they are. We know the history of their program. We know the players on their roster, and they've won a lot of games over the last several years, and so I don't know what Coach O'Sullivan, that's really up to him. As far as me, that my answer would be just depends on where my team is at that point. If I can notice that they need a kick in the rear, then I kick them in the rear. If I think they need a pat on the back, you pat them on the back. And but I think we all realize as coaches in this league, it's a very unforgiving league, and that's what makes it great. I think if you polled all 14 coaches and asked why is the SEC the #1 baseball conference outside the league, you may get a lot of answers like they got the best teams, they got the best facilities, they go to Omaha the most national championships, and whatever yardstick you want to measure it by. But I think inside the league we realize that 1 through 14 were the best, and not on a given day do we have the best team, but man, it doesn't matter who you're playing in our league. If you don't play well, you lose, and that's evident every week. And so, sometimes, sweeps happen on both sides, right? Sometimes, you're on the good side of it. Sometimes you're on the bad side of it. And all you can do is put the blinders on and try to play as best you can.
Oh, it's felt awesome. I've been here for a couple years, and, I really love this school, and I'm really happy to be helping us win some games. And, it's really fun to have other guys around me that are hitting just as well, Kevin Graham and Peyton and all these other guys that, even if I can't do it, they're going to pick me up. 1 through 9, I think we're the most dangerous lineup in the league.
I just think a lot of things. I think the big thing was just, improving my whole arsenal and being able to throw any pitch and any count, fastball, slider, changeup, and just commanding those pitches and just trusting my stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think the message is the same wherever we go, because they're all tough to play at. I'm not trying to take anything about University of Florida. And I think we're all looking forward to, seeing the new stadium. We've seen it on television. And, I know they've worked really hard on it. And certainly a program that deserves, a stadium like that with all their success. But, what we talk about a lot of times is, and I know it's boring coaches speak, but it's the best answer I have is, to put the blinders on and just play the game. Don't get caught up in all the other stuff. That's for you guys to write about. Our thing that I mention a lot is about the boring old habits. The fundamentals and being able to play the game the right way. If you do that, you have a lot more fun at the end of the game. When the game's over. If you get caught up in all the other stuff, that's when the game gets more difficult than it already is. The game's already really hard. To make it, to start to worry about things that, don't matter and you don't control, I think is really, a recipe for disaster.
I think, losing like that happens. I mean, it's the SEC. It's the best conference in the country. And, Florida's a good team. So I don't think that they're going to be pressing that much. I think that they're just going to kind of, wipe that out of their memory, kind of like we would. And, just move forward and play how they can play. So, we got to be ready to go down there.
I took a visit there, yeah. It didn't come down to the final couple of decisions, but I visited there and talked to Coach Sullivan and stuff like that, but it wasn't one of my top decisions now. Oh, it's awesome. Friday Night Lights and, facing off ace versus ace, and, it's great, and it fires me up, and, just trying to mow down the other opponent and give your team the best chance to win.
I usually don't take that opportunity, except for maybe pitchers, and Doug and Gunnar both pitched against Florida as freshmen. Now again, to your point, this first time, they've pitched in Florida at Gainesville, but they pitched against them here as freshmen, and
well. There you go. That was Mike Bianco talking about the Florida series along with Gunnar Hoagland and Tim Elko. It's kind of a big series. It's a place where Ole Miss is starting their gauntlet. We want it to do fairly well. Everybody was kind of hoping for 5-1 against Alabama. We got 6-0. Now everybody's bracing for what's to come. We have this week Florida, next week Arkansas, the week after that Mississippi State. So the next 9 games are going to be very huge for this team. And, you want to win 2 at home, you want to win 1 on the road. That's the baseline expectation. Anything you can get plus that is a benefit. So if it can go 2-1 in the Florida series, you've obviously gone +1. And now all of a sudden they're going into the Arkansas series at 8-1. So it's quite interesting. It's basically set up for all kinds of success with this team. And they can kind of take it to the next level, but it's all on them because, they have a chance to get to the halfway point at 10 or 11 wins, and that's a fantastic start, especially when you start off the baseline expectation at 15-15. Now we'll have Chris Muller after the Florida series Saturday to talk about it and break down everything that happened. I think there's another person that was looking to start a baseball podcast as well. We might have him on here as well. I don't know exactly who that is. I'll let you know the more I know. And we're going to effort getting interviews from the big national guys like, just to talk, Ben McDonald, Kyle Peterson, those guys. They might say no, but, they definitely says you miss every shot you don't take, they say. So we're going to try and do that to get a little bit of analysis. Maybe Kendall Rogers, Aaron Fitt, those guys as well. Bring them on the show to talk a little bit of baseball from a national perspective, not just a local perspective to where you can get caught in that little bubble. And, if that's all your information, you don't really have all the information. You need the national guys, you need the local guys, you need them all. You need all the angles whatsoever. But Ole Miss versus Florida, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central tonight on SEC Network. Ben McDonald and Clay Matvick on the call. It's going to be a big game. Gunnar Hoagland on the hill against Franco Alamon, and it's the beginning of the gauntlet. It's what we've all been really waiting on. These 3 series is going to tell the tale when it comes to Ole Miss football. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little spring practice and everything that's going on and just kind of ramble a little bit about that. So it'd be fun. Anyway, take a short break. Stick around.
You want to answer that, don't you? I bet it's just killing you seeing the soft glow just inches away. Someone wants to tell you something or ask you something. Oh, come on, answer it already! Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive. A message from Florida's trusted choice independent insurance agents.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis. I just want you to stick around a little longer. We're going to get back to the podcast right after these messages.
Tonight, nearly 40,000 veterans across the country are homeless. These men and women have pledged to serve our nation, and now we must serve them. Landlords across the country have helped make significant progress in reducing veteran homelessness by making housing available, but there is more that we can do to bring our veterans home. Visit www.va.gov/homeless to see how you can get involved. And if you are a veteran and you are experiencing homelessness, please call 877-4AID-VET. Thank you.
All right, welcome back to the POMcast. I am your host, Stephen Willis. Of course, in the first segment, we went over the Ole Miss Florida series. First pitch tonight, kind of the beginning of the gauntlet for the Ole Miss baseball team. Worth keeping an eye on. They can get 2. It's sitting mighty pretty going forward. You have Arkansas coming in next week, and then you go on the road to Duty Noble the week after that to play Mississippi State. So that should be a lot of fun. But we're going to change gears in a little bit. But first, I want to let you know that if you are looking for additional Ole Miss information and you want to learn about what's going on, going over to therebelwalk.com, Evelyn and her team do a fantastic job of covering Ole Miss, providing a subscriber level product for a completely free product. I mean, it's a great value. It's amazing. You'll see the instant reaction. Some of the personalities are on here. Well, they're writing over there. So if you enjoy the Chris Muller instant reaction that we did the other day, well, he's over there right now writing. So it's kind of a cool thing. So go over to therebelwalk.com and you can thank me later. All right. Also, just to let you know, we are talking to do a little bit of advertising for somebody, kind of free-ish, just to pick them up. So whenever they have information, we'll get that to you. But it's basically all about how you can contribute and the benefits you can get by contributing to Ole Miss. So we're working on that. It isn't quite final, but look for that in coming days. Also in coming days, look for us to start having some guests on here. It's pretty cool. We already got 2 of them booked. We'll record over the next couple of days. They're national level guys. Pretty good gets for a little rinky-dink show like we have. But it's yet another way for you to stay informed with Ole Miss sports. We want free content. We do, and we want to provide the best product available to you for free because we're not going to extort you for money. We're not going to ask you to go to a second location, and we're really not going to ask you to pay for what I'm talking about. So stick around for that, and it should be quite cool. I'm looking forward to ask about asking about all things Ole Miss and some national level stuff as well. So, let's see. Ole Miss in spring practice tomorrow, or today, I think, will be the fifth practice, 1/3 of the way through spring. And the only person that I have known of and heard that has seen a practice is Bradley Sowell. He's over on the Talk of Champions podcast. They've been doing a lot of spring football because, I mean, heck, he's the only person with the eyes. He's the only person that's seen it. He has valuable information. Well, he put out a nugget of information this morning that was rather interesting. Jaden Jackson has been moved from the slot to an outside receiver. And this whole situation, everything's going on. For years, ever since he left Summerall High School, he has vibed to where he looked like Mike Wallace. That's the comparison. That's the comp. Mike Wallace. And now you're going to line him up in double move land and let him use his crazy speed running the ball. He's already returning kickoffs. You saw that in the Outback Bowl last year. But he's having a monster spring just being able to run and catch the deep ball. And he's catching over his shoulders, hands catching down there. It's very confident catches. You see that and you're like, well, he meant to do that. It wasn't an accident. Because some people over the shoulder cradle the ball in. They want it to hit their hands and bounce in their chest and go down to their arms. There's room for them to err. But he was catching the ball with his hands. It was a very confident catch, and it was very good to see, especially when he struggled a little bit last year with his hands. Because, as you know, he was early in the year the backup slot, but at the end of the year, you didn't really see that. Jonathan Mingo moved into that position. Then Jaden Jackson played that position in the bowl game. So everybody's like, what happened to Jaden Jackson? Because he was one of my favorite players in the 2019 class, the famous Mississippi Made class. And he looks like a slot. He should be able to function as a slot. But that's not really the makeup that he was working with, unfortunately. So they moved him outside to where he can just do double moves and go and use his speed. And I think you will see a dividend paid fairly early, either against Louisville or definitely the next week against Austin Peay. He has superb speed. He's probably one of the 2 or 3 fastest players on the team. And the outside position is just what he needs at the moment. Now, the problem with the outside position, if you've listened to podcasts, if you're a longtime listener, or watch the video cast, whatever you do, the outside position, they're asked to block, and like no nonsense block. Because this is what we are. We are a running team. Now, it's not going to get any of the headlines. It's not going to do it. It's about physicality. It's a running team. But we are a shot team as well. So if it's a way to punish people that move people down in the box because they're worried about what's going to happen on the outside. Now, if you can add that shot play and everything, and we have an accurate quarterback, and you call your offense basically based on what you are wanting to be successful at. Our offense last year in some games were 70% run. I mean, that's a crazy number. Matt Corral might have thrown for 300 yards that day, but it was 70% run. And in the backfield between Snoop and Jarian and Henry Parrish, and in the bowl game, Kentrell Bullock, I mean, there's a nice little rotation developing of different style backs in there. But that fear on the outside is what keeps the safeties from crowding the box. There's a way you can actually punish them for going to 8 in the box. That's the plan. And that's what they're building on the outside. Remember, the offense itself in the passing game goes through the tight end and the slot receiver. Those are the two mains. The outside guys are double move, deep shots, blocking. It's a unique offense. People won't say it's unique, but it's fairly unique. Now, the biggest thing that we need to take from this, after I've talked about Dennis Jackson moving outside, is there's only so many reps. And since we go so fast, you don't substitute very often. That's worth keeping in mind. This offense, more than most offenses there, punishes you for getting second team, because a starter could be on the field for a series. So it cuts down on playing time. So it increases competition during the practices, because you want to be wide receiver 1. You want to be wide receiver 2. If you're below that, all of a sudden there's a little bit of watching taking place. So the reason I say that is it's time for Jonathan Mingo to step up. There's only so many reps. And Dennis Jackson is showing out. I don't think Dontario Drummond will be the weak link. And I'm not saying Jonathan Mingo is a weak link. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think he's the candidate, and you can tell by his production, like he really went off against Kentucky, but there were games there that he kind of disappeared. He needs to really show up and develop that consistency between now and fall, or he will see his reps start to dwindle. Because Dennis Jackson, by all accounts, is having a fantastic spring. Now, it helps that like Braylon Sanders and Jonathan Mingo are injured, and that's more reps for Dennis Jackson, and you move him outside and he gets to learn a little bit. That definitely helps him out. But there's some players coming back. And then this fall, whenever Braylon Brown gets here, he's, like I told you, he's a 5-star level talent. He's a great player. He is a wide receiver in the mold of Laquan Treadwell-ish. And just keep an eye on that. He's going to get here in the fall. J.J. Henry is going to get here in the fall. That's going to control the slot receiver. He might play outside some as well. Brandon Buckhalter is playing outside at the moment. So we have more bodies than we used to have. We substitute the same amount of time. We're not running wide receivers on and off in between plays, because if you substitute, they get to substitute, and that eliminates your tempo advantage. So that's the reason they are doing that. So look for the offense to, again, go lightning quick like it always does. But I think there's a role for Dennis Jackson as a burner on the outside. And the other side might turn into the Jonathan Mingo, Dontario Drummond side, and the Braylon Brown side. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to as the spring progresses. Now, Saturday we'll know a little bit more. We'll be able to lay eyes on them. And we'll have, hopefully, an instant reaction following the practice of what we saw. And that way we can move forward with a mindset. But I'm looking forward to seeing Dennis Jackson moving forward. Anyway, that is the show for today. I'll give you a couple minutes back, about a minute back. Thank you very much for joining us. Tune in tomorrow. And we'll have some reaction from Game 1 of the Ole Miss Florida series. And hopefully some sound from practice today, from football practice as well. So Friday should be a jam-packed show. So I'm Stephen Willis. This has been the POMcast. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Hotty toddy.